what is the system of agriculture? So I told you we deliver is the first only subsurface irrigation technology to spread moisture at the root zone, the rhizosphere. I can't tell you I'm exact in my science, but I'm broadly right. The results are there. Moisture at the root zone helps in easy and effective uptake of soluble nutrients. Please remember, a lot of micronutrients are now available in a soluble form, and that can also be said. It not only reduces by 25 to 30%, the efficacy of these micronutrients also go up, because saving the cost of the farmer's expense is very important, especially when all these kind of things come from big corporations. And more importantly, very clear evidence that a moisture regime is key to an ecosystem to foster soil microorganisms, right? Of all kinds. Application of living compost. Living compost is what we help the farmers make. It's an advisory. We guide them. It's a 1 month process. Improves the microbial flora in the root zone and improves the nutrient availability to crops. I mean, this is nothing for you. You all know that. Timely availability of soil moisture and rhizosphere reduces evaporation and increases biological activity, which increases crop yield due to better translocation of water and nutrients. So I think we need to take a slightly wider environmental and ecosystem perspective when we are talking of water, food, biodiversity, etc. Living compost is an advisory. We ask them to promote because we must promote only native biodiverse soil microorganisms. As I told you earlier, there is a big, I went to receive an award from the Prime Minister's function, and I found a lot of startups having all kinds of microorganisms floating around, and everybody thought it's great, but I was a bit worried and I continued. Arbuscular mycorrhizae fungi is now being added to living compost, and that results, it will take me some time before I'm able to, although all the theoretical evidence says that this will bring down the cost as well as improve the efficiency. Now, what is the comparative results of SWAR and DRIP? We have done this over a dozen sites. It's not that we did, we got independent agencies to it, which included KVKs, which included Syngenta Foundation, which included Green Innovation Center, etc. Because look, we are in the business of pursuing what is true. So that is what it was. It very clearly showed 50 to 60% less water use compared to drip. When I say compared to drip, compared to scientific recommendation in drip. That's the yardstick I go by, which means that the water savings is much, much higher. It's not just water savings, it's efficient use of water that we should pursue. There's a 10% higher yield. We also find that the root to shoot ratio is much better, which means biomass will also grow up. And now, wherever living compost has been applied, we see a definitive improvement in the crop quality. In horticulture, the value paid by a buyer is based on quality, not on quantity. The yield perception should give way to the value perception as well. So I find that when I did it in pomegranate, what could be sold at 50, 60 rupees was fetching 110, 120. Our aim is to reach to 150. But that's very important. Well, no change in the yield. 20% less nutrient application. As the soil improves, this can be further brought down. 30% less electricity. And we've also found lower HP solar pumps that we did it in Orissa. And because a 5 HP solar pump is very expensive. Capital costs are very high. Whereas we find a 1.5 inch serve the purpose, right? Because the whole thing is on pressurized irrigation. We have to revisit that myth. We have to redesign that thing itself. Then there's a 60 to 75% less labor cost because of weed control. Weed control in the monsoon, I can't do anything, but the rest of it, there's certainly no weed growth that happens. What was not envisaged originally, but we found is that it works with saline water. This was done by an agency, Saigal Foundation in Haryana. They took 300 pieces in the beginning, and then they took 2,000 more, and they found that it works in saline water as well. The most important and close to my chest is that it can ration water. I can further reduce water just to moisten the root zone and stop the root tree mortality that we are seeing in this country. Because that's something which is there. It also has multiple implications, not just for farmers' income or national wealth, but also to greening and carbon, etc. So we are able to reduce the mortality. Our ambition is to end the mortality.